Wisconsin Trails magazine.
Yeah, paranormal researcher Chad Lewis lays out the top 10 most haunted places in Wisconsin. Chad joins us now live on the Morning Blend. And I've read the creepier and weirder the place, the more likely it is that you'll be there.
Yes, I love the places where a lot of weird things, suicides, bizarre deaths, untimely deaths take place. So if it's weird, I'm out there looking for it.
Okay, now I want to ask you something before we get to this list of places that you find very creepy. Have you yourself heard or seen paranormal activity?
Yes, one of the places that's on the list, we were actually there and we heard what appeared to be a growl coming from the woods. It didn't sound human, but it didn't sound animal either. So we went and grabbed our recorders, got this weird sound where this place where a woman is thought to be haunting, and she drowned many years ago. So a lot of the people that were with us decided to turn back at that point.
Wow, that's
which is
creepy.
part of the fun, you know, for them to turn back, for us to keep going.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and that was one of my questions too, because you know, oftentimes we hear of all these hauntings that they're rooted in some sort of tragedy, like you said, a drowning or a suicide or a murder. Do you think that was pretty true for most of these places?
Yes, certainly. A lot of these places, like Plainfield Cemetery, where Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainfield, dug up all the deceased women that reminded him of his dead mother to use their skin for lampshades and furniture in his house back in the 50s. And now people believe not only is he haunting that cemetery, but his victims that he dug up are still there as well.
Well,
okay,
yeah.
That's super duper creepy. Okay, so there are these spine-chilling places. You've kind of narrowed the list after visiting hundreds of spine-chilling places. I know there's a folklorist who says that Wisconsin has more ghosts per square mile than any other state. Okay, so let's get to one. Here's a picture. This is Mary of Elk Lake Dam. This is Elk Lake, and this is a place where people say that they've seen this what looks like a woman or a vision, shapes, shadows, things like that, because there was a woman a body that was found in a rural area of Elk Lake, right?
Yes, back in '74, this young woman unfortunately met her death there when she was stabbed to death and her body was dumped by the river. And since that time, people have been seeing her spirit down there walking around. The case was never solved, and so many people have gone there to see her ghost and thought they have, that after 30-some years, the Sheriff's Department has reopened the case into her murder because of the attention her ghost has been receiving. And hopefully they'll solve the case and put her spirit to rest.
Ooh, just all these, they just give me goosebumps. I don't know about everybody at home, but
I feel bad for her. I mean, here she is stabbed and dumped in 1974, and she's still creeping around
trying to get it solved.
Figure it all out.
Oh my gosh, well maybe someone will hear some sort of hint she's giving. She'll whisper it to someone who's there. How about the Riverside Cemetery in Appleton, because that has to do with Kate Blood. Tell us her story.
Yeah, she was thought to be this murderous woman back in the 1800s, murdered her husband and 3 children, and she was not to be allowed burial inside the cemetery proper. So she's down all by herself on the side by the river, and those who go down there see a spirit behind the gravestone. But the most bizarre thing is they appear to see blood oozing from the gravestone. And I say it appears to be blood because witnesses I've spoken to, that when they went to touch it, it was dry to the touch, but they believed it was blood pouring out of her grave.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely creepy. Okay, this last one is in Plainfield. This is actually a cemetery area there, but this, what we're looking at, is the homestead, right, of Ed Gein?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where Ed took a lot of his victims. He took at least 2 living victims that he murdered, but he also dug up dozens of women. And he used to wear their skin as a human mask and an outfit as he danced in the moonlight under his front yard. And believe it or not, after he was captured and they found all the evil things he was doing, they were going to open his house as a museum that you could go and visit, until townsfolk burned it down so nobody could visit it.
Well,
but people still go to the farmland and hear the screams of what are thought to be his victims still roaming the area.
Oh gosh,
and
that's horrible.
if any of your viewers are interested, the place is for sale.
What? It was burned down, so it wasn't burned down, or it was rebuilt?
It was burned down, but the farmland, his property, is still for sale. You can own a piece of Wisconsin's grisly history.
Oh. For how much, do you know?
The funny thing is they think it's making the more valuable, the history of it, so they're asking about double the value of what land should go for in that area, because they think someone's going to pay because of its grisly history, and so far no takers.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to have any part of that personally. No, thank you. you. Okay, so other than that, right here in Milwaukee, there's also Brumder Mansion. What can people do there?
Well, it's a B&B, and it's thought to have several ghosts, one of which is a former lady of the night that worked there when it was a brothel, a speakeasy back during Prohibition days. There's also a performer of a woman down in the basement that people have heard her singing, and they're entertained by her before she walks into a wall and disappears. But that's a place where if you have that macabre sense of adventure, you can spend the night and maybe come face to face with one of these spirits. And maybe if you bring some spirits of your own, the Prohibition ghosts will come out.
Some spirits of your own. I like that.
See, that one sounds a little friendlier. That's more up my alley if I ever were to have a scary alley in my bones at all.
So people can read about this right now in the October issue. And it's kind of neat because you go through these 10 places, and many of which people are able to visit. There are some indoor locations, some that are outside. Tiff's holding that issue right now. You'll see that face on the front of it. It says Faces of the Farm, but inside you'll see the scary places all over the state. It's called America's Scary Land. Don't forget, we have more ghosts apparently per square mile than any other state. Whoa.
Yeah,
here's the
great
information so that you can subscribe to Wisconsin Trails, 800-877-5280, or you can go to wisconsintrails.com. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for
Keep
coming
an eye
back.
out.
Yes, we will.
Ooh, I got some chills now.